sang this song to me. There was a message in its melody, sweetest lyrics that I ever heard. There's a message in the songs of birds. He said, tomorrow is another day, but living is the only way that tomorrow's gonna ever come. Listen to the words of the song. Everything's gonna be alright. Everything is gonna be.
Greetings and welcome to A Sip of Inspiration. I'm Stephanie Wilson-Coleman, known as the Empowerment Doctor, and I am the host for today's show. Today's show is going to deal with gratitude. So, I frequently ask the question, what does gratitude have to do with it anyway? And it's wonderful that we're doing this show today because I just finished a 30-day exercise of Rampage of Appreciation that Abraham Hicks recommends, and I have had an amazing change occur in my life. One is, before that exercise, one of the benefits was I was waking up every 45 minutes, and now I'm actually able to sleep 3-hour increments at a time. So I think that's pretty cool. So before today's show, I looked at and found some very cool quotes that explained why gratitude was necessary, and here's one of them. Melody Beattie says, gratitude unlocks the fullness in life. It turns what we have into enough and more. It turns denial into acceptance, chaos into order, confusion into clarity. It can turn a meal into a feast, a house into a home, a stranger into a friend. Gratitude makes sense in our past, it brings peace for today, and it creates a vision for tomorrow. When I read that, I thought, man, that sounds like a really tall order. Gratitude can do all of that. And then as I thought back over my last 30 days of the Rampage of Appreciation and the gratitude, including the prosperity game, I realized that it did help me make peace with a lot of things. And it opened my eyes up and allowed me to be able to begin to dream again. But before we get started, I want you guys, as usual, you have to have paper and pencil when you watch this show. You know that, right? So you need to get some pencil and paper, and we're going to take a quick break. And while we're on that break, I want you to consider what gratitude means to you.
Oh, there she is. She's such a loser.
I know.
What a geek. Get lost.
Words hurt. Don't be a part of it.
Greetings. Welcome back to A Sip of Inspiration. I'm Stephanie Wilson-Coleman, the Empowerment Doctor, and I am your host. In the opening of the show, we talked a little bit about gratitude and my experience over the last 30 days with the Gratitude Project. Now, I know if you watch this show, The New Science of Forgiveness, you're wondering, what's the difference and why do I need to do both? Well, forgiveness, think of it this way. It sort of gets you out of the muckiness and the stickiness from where you've been. It frees you up from all those vibrations and beliefs and experiences that were keeping you stuck and giving you permission to go forward. And let's think about gratitude as now a technique or tool that we'll use in order to raise your consciousness level or raise your vibration so you can begin now to attract the things that you want to attract as opposed to the things that you do not want to attract. And if you find yourself getting kind of stuck in the middle of the process, you're doing forgiveness every day, so you're able to get out of that sticky glue every day instead of waiting years. So there's been a lot of new science on gratitude. And as you all know, I am a fan of the science when science finally can prove what we've always known over the ages to be true. So we're going to take a quick break now, and I want you to look at this video entitled The New Science of Gratitude, and it explains what gratitude is.
Research shows that adopting an attitude of gratitude Simply expressing appreciation and being more thankful can measurably improve your overall well-being. For example, studies prove that gratitude can increase happiness, reduce depression, and strengthen resiliency. Grateful people often experience reduced blood pressure, less chronic pain, increased energy, even longer lives. People who purposefully express more gratitude report higher self-esteem than those who don't, and they're more likely to help others, a pro-social behavior also linked to greater happiness. People who capture grateful thoughts before bed sleep better than those who don't. Why so many positive changes? Because gratitude actually rewires our brains, kickstarting the production of dopamine and serotonin. Like antidepressants, these feel-good neurotransmitters activate the bliss center of the brain, creating feelings of happiness and contentment. This appears to be self-perpetuating. Research suggests that with regular practice, you'll train your prefrontal cortex to better appreciate and retain positive experiences and thoughts, and to deflect the negative ones. Here are a few simple ways to deliberately cultivate that attitude of gratitude. Celebrate minor accomplishments. Think about what you have rather than dwelling on what you don't. Tell the people in your life something you appreciate about them. Tell yourself too. Volunteer, hold a door for a stranger, or simply smile more, and you'll probably feel better, as kindness and giving are connected to gratitude. Similar positive brain changes can occur from regular meditation and mindfulness. Keep a daily gratitude journal using an old-fashioned notebook or a high-tech app.
Now, I thought that was incredibly interesting and exciting all at the same time. And I had a lot of questions when I started delving into the science of gratitude. And I know each question is different for each person. So you can send me an email with your questions if you want a response about your particular situation, and I will gladly answer those questions. So I'm going to give you a practical way of starting a gratitude journal. Now, you all have heard about gratitude journals. As a matter of fact, you can't get out of the bookstore, the grocery store, or any store without walking through this long aisle of every journal possible. And I even have a specific journal I use. So journals are incredibly important. But as I've said before, they don't have to be fancy. They don't have to be expensive. They can actually be just a pad of paper or a sheet of paper that you set aside every day to actually record your experiences. So I want to share with you a technique that I have been using for a while, and that's the Gratitude Journal by Dan Sullivan. Dan Sullivan is a strategic coach, and one of the things he talks about is how to really use gratitude in order to improve your life. So he is the author of a book entitled The Gratitude Principle, and it's also included in several blogs. So if you just Google him, you'll be able to get this information for yourself. So he believes that we can achieve endless progress and success in our lives if we just increase the amount of gratitude that we have along the way. So let's say today you are grateful for the typical things. Say you woke up this morning, everything worked, you could breathe. And we really are grateful for health, the obvious things that we can see. But sometimes we don't take that far enough. We don't go into all of the other things that make life incredibly interesting and possible for us. So Dan Sullivan recommends that you, and here too, he doesn't say buy a fancy journal, he just says find a way to record these entries, is the first thing you're going to do is talk about what you're grateful for. Now, I started an exercise that would list 121 things that I was grateful for. And I only use the number 121 because it loosely corresponds with the number of beads as in the Mali prayer bead necklace. So I figured, can I come up with 121 things? After about the first 15 or 21 things, it's like that you just stop and think, God, what's happening? So then I begin to remember that it takes more in my life to make my life work than my family, than my health, than my house. It actually takes the air I breathe. It takes the water I drink, the ability to have access to clean water, the books I read, the books I can buy, the books I have access to, working internet, all of my electronics. So you would be surprised as once you start to think about you have to be grateful for, the list is endless. So start with 3 things. The science has said that if you do 3 things every night, that you will have significant improvement in your life. So just start with 3. So a lot of people say 5, so 3 to 5, but don't make gratitude a chore. Just let it be things that you think about that you're grateful for. And then I want you to write next to what that is, why are you grateful? Because a lot of times we say, I'm grateful for my health, but we don't write down why we're grateful for our health. So maybe you're grateful for your health so that you can play with your grandkids another day, so that you can see your loved ones and interact with them another day, so that you don't have medical expenses. There are all kinds of reasons as to why. And it is the mind and the subconsciousness that latches on to the why we want a thing, as opposed to a saying we want a thing. So why are you grateful for that? Why am I grateful for the internet? Because I can do 50% of my research there. It doesn't eliminate the need to go to the library and look at journals and volumes of books, but it does eliminate the need for me to go to the library to do all of my research. I can keep up with friends and relatives if I choose to. So think about that. That's the second thing. Then the next thing Dan Sullivan talks about is how can you express your gratitude? I think that this was the most powerful thing ever when I started researching gratitude. So how can I express my gratitude? So I'm thankful, for instance, a good performance review. So how do I express that gratitude? So you can send a message or an email to someone who talked about some project that you helped them win, or some goal that you helped someone achieve. You can send them you can send a card. You can send them some token of appreciation, and it doesn't have to cost any money. It can be a note, it can be a letter, it can be some little small gift that you find, but you need to find a way to express how and why you're grateful. Expressing that gratitude in the outer actually raises your vibrational level, and then you will find that people will begin to express their gratitude back to you. But often we keep that in an inside and we say, I've done so many things for people and they haven't thanked me, but people have done a lot of things for us too, and we haven't bothered to thank them either. So we've got to remember that that thank you thing goes 2 ways. We can say thank you, but is there something else you can do to take it a little step further? The thing is, now that you are in your gratitude journal and you're being grateful and you know why you're grateful and you have written down ways to express your gratitude, now you've got to take the action step to actually do it. Today I want you to be sure that you're not the king or queen of I'm going to do it someday. Because once we are on that throne of I'm going to do it someday, someday never comes. And if you think about it, it is always today. There's nothing you can do to change tomorrow, and there's nothing you can really do to change yesterday. What you can do is do enough today so that what happens yesterday feeds off of what you did today. So what's that first action you're going to take? And then I want you to take that first action. He also recommends writing a gratitude letter to a person that's had a positive influence in your life, that has helped you in ways that were beneficial. Now, I have done that periodically in my life, and it is amazing. Some of those people are still carrying those letters in their pocket now. Now, writing the gratitude letter to a person who has a positive influence on you can sound like a daunting task. It's like, oh my God, what do I say? How often do I have to do it? So maybe this is something you want to do at key times or special times a year. Maybe Mother's Day, Christmas, Thanksgiving. You don't have to do it every day. You don't have to do it every month, but maybe you want to keep a list of those things, and then at the end of a particular period of time, go back through your gratitude journal and see what you were grateful for, and maybe just send a gratitude letter to that person. So as you can see, I'm really excited about Dan Sullivan's approach. It is incredibly helpful. And when you're doing your gratitude list, if you do it this way, being stuck at number 3 or 5 soon eases up to where you're able to find 10 to 20 things that you're grateful for. So now I want you to turn your attention to this information by Louis Schwarzenberg. Today is a gift.
You think this is just another day in your life? It's not just another day. It's the one day that is given to you today. It's given to you. It's a gift. It's the only gift that you have right now, and the only appropriate response is gratefulness. If you do nothing else but to cultivate that response to the great gift that this unique day is, if you learn to respond as if it were the first day in your life and the very last day, then you will have spent this day very well.
Now, I want to ask you, if you started right now, I don't care if you're watching this at 5 in the morning, 3 in the afternoon, if you started right at this point to look at today as a gift, what would you have to be grateful for? Today, in this moment, you have an opportunity to change your mind, to be more thankful, to be more loving, to release all of that negative stuff that you've been carrying around with you just because you've gotten used to it. And you know, negativity and negative thoughts are incredibly addicting. So maybe you've actually become addicted to that thought. You've become addicted to feeling bad, to think people are robbing you of your goodness. So if today is a gift, how would you use that day? And as you think about that, I want you to write that down, and write down 3 to 5 things that you want to do with this day, with today's gift. So this is an idea. Remember I spoke about the Rampage of Appreciation by Abraham Hicks. I've written a little bit down about it because I love this Rampage of Appreciation. And it's a fun game to do, and you can do it anywhere. It doesn't cost you any money. It does cost you some time. And it does sort of cost you the willingness to give up some of that negativity that you have become addicted to. But you can even use that in this game. So one thing you do is start to find something that you appreciate. And I want you to do that understanding that as you do, and the more you do it, your resistance to good will disappear. So, for instance, you could be grateful that you have the ability to hear my voice, or you could be grateful that you can turn off the television set so you don't have to hear something you don't want to hear. You can be grateful that you have the ability to sit down, to get up, to stand, to walk, that there's flowers, that you have heat, that you have air, that you have a place to sleep, that you have family, friends, or that you have caller ID and you don't have to talk to the people that you don't want to talk to. You can be thankful for just endless amounts of things. And I want you to play that game, and I want you to spend at least 5 minutes, it's not a long time, in this rampage of appreciation. Be appreciative that you didn't have to turn some button so that your lungs could work today, that you didn't have to remember to open your mouth to speak. There are so many things that we have to be grateful for in this day that is a gift. So I want you to think about that. Now, because this game can be played anywhere, anytime, all you do is direct your attention toward positive thoughts in your mind. And if you're in a place where you're still with pencil and paper, which I think you should always have pencil and paper, I want you to write your thoughts down on the paper. If you write them down, that actually enhances this process. And Abraham Hicks says that it's not absolutely necessary, but it does put this gratitude sort of on steroids so that you can begin to dissipate all of the negativity and attract much more good into your life just by being grateful. So a lot of us say, oh, I'm so grateful. Oh, I thank God for this, and I thank God for that. Oh, the Lord woke me up this morning. You have a lot more than that to be grateful for. Why did the Lord wake you up this morning, and what do you plan to do with this gift that you were given today? So I want you to turn your attention now to being thankful, and let me know what your thoughts are after you have watched this short segment.
Say thank you for grace. Thank you for mercy. Thank you for understanding. Thank you for wisdom. Thank you for parents. Thank you for love. Thank you for kindness. Thank you for humility. Thank you for peace. Thank you for prosperity. Say thank you in advance for what's already yours. It's how I live my life. That's why I am, one of the reasons why I am today. Say thank you in advance for what is already yours.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you for this day. Thank you for every moment that led to this day. Thank you for the hard times. They made me appreciate the good times. Thank you for the lessons. They were needed for my development. Thank you for my eyes that get to witness the miracles of today and tomorrow. Thank you for everything I take for granted. Thank you for all of my blessings. Thank you for my drive. Thank you for my spirit. Thank you for my strength. Thank you for giving me the courage to fight through the hard times. Thank you for the people in my life, those I love and those I learn from. Thank you for it all. Thank you. Thank you. It's the key that opens the door to instant happiness, unlocks the door to everything we are really seeking in life, happiness and contentment. Think about it. No matter what you say you want, money, riches, health, to help others, why do you really want it? When you drill deep down, the only reason anyone wants anything is the feeling we believe we will get from having it. That all boils down to happiness and contentment. And the truth is, we can have it now if we are grateful. And if you get quiet, get away from the noise of the world, and think for a moment about what you could be grateful for, I'm sure you could find plenty. Be grateful there's food on the table, air in your lungs, life in your body. Get grateful that you have opportunity to take your life to a whole nother level. To decide right now that you are going to live your dreams and never settle until you do. Get grateful for the mental strength you've been given to survive the hard times. Get grateful for your limbs if you have them. Many are not so blessed. Your eyesight if you have it. Many are not so blessed. Your hearing if you have it. Many are not so blessed. The health you do have, many are in worse positions. Get grateful for that one person that has had an impact in your life, or many people if you are so blessed. Then get grateful you can choose to be that person for someone else. That one that makes a difference in someone else's life, no matter how small. Get grateful you get to experience this magical universe. Today, look for miracles. I guarantee if you are looking, you will see them. There are unlimited things to be grateful for. Open your eyes. Unlock your amazing life. It's ready for you right now.
Thank you for this day. whatever it brings. Whether a challenge I need to grow, a lineup to teach me patience, an unexpected blessing, every moment of joy, whatever today brings, thank you. Whatever it brings, I pray I have enough presence in each moment to know that no circumstance is my life. No high or low, no event, no thing is my life. Life is energy, and I know I'm so much more than my physical body. Thank you for my ability to love, to give to others my authentic love and kindness without expecting anything in return. Thank you for my strength. Thank you for my presence. Thank you for my ability to attract only the things and people that are in harmony with what I need in my life. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you for this day, whatever it brings.
Welcome back to A Sip of Inspiration with me. I know you've seen lots of stuff on gratitude this morning, so, and I guess I should apologize, but not really, because I think gratitude is a good place to spend a lot of time. So I've got a few questions that were sent in through text message while we were watching that video, and I'm going to answer those questions now. How can gratitude help me with my business? Now, as you've probably seen in some of the videos that we've shown today, and some that you will see throughout the remainder of the show, gratitude will help you not only in your business, but it helps you in your personal life too. Gratitude helps you stay in that moment of acceptance and not in that moment of resistance. Every time we allow negativity to take over any moment in our life, we are resisting our good. They cannot happen simultaneously. Only one thought, one thing can occupy a space. So you are either in the flow of life or you are outside of the flow of life. And every moment you spend in negativity is a moment you cannot get back. So if we take our time to go into the flow of life, then we will be able to notice all those little synchronicities that occur in life. So in your business, if you're grateful and gratitude for every area in your life, this universe doesn't say, oh, I'm only going to give them blessings. You're only going to receive blessings in your personal life, but not in your business. They will be all over your life. So I would start in the business by being grateful for how long you've been in business, by being grateful for all of the people that you have served. Remember, being in business is a matter of service, and you have served people. How many have you served? What good are you bringing into the world that you live in and in the community? And I know some people think that, oh, it's only in my community, but remember, every person you touch, they touch 51 more people, and those 51 more people touch 51 more people. So if it's no more than being able to help that person that's working for you take care of his family and his family's expenses, or her family and her family expenses, that is something to be grateful for. And I want you to start being grateful in advance too. I want you to already be grateful for all of the revenue that's going to come in, for all of the good health that's going to come in, for all of the joy that you're going to get. And it will keep you focused on that. So if you are practicing gratitude in your business, you will become open to more opportunities. And remember, you're going to be grateful for having done it. So you just need to make the plan, because the universe will bring more things to you that you will be able to achieve and execute so that your business begins to grow. Because remember, every time you give, it's given back to you the same way. So if you're giving out negativity, you're getting negativity. If you're giving out good, you're getting good. And that is how it will help your business. So with that, I want us to take another look at a video that I found that I thought was incredibly powerful with Eckhart Tolle, Oprah, and with Tony Robbins. And it talks about gratitude also.
What are the questions one needs to ask oneself?
Well, I think one needs to look at what bounty and blessings have I received from the universe that I want to acknowledge and celebrate? What do I want to celebrate about today? What happened today that I can celebrate, that I can be grateful for? And rather than waking up in the morning, I didn't get enough sleep, and going to bed at night with, I didn't get enough done, which is bookending your day
Yeah.
with scarcity.
I think this is interesting for us to think about how many times a day that tape plays of not enough.
Yeah.
Not just in money. How many times the not enough shows up?
But what if we woke up in the morning and are so grateful for the sweet territory of silence and sleep? And you can wake up that way. You can actually tell yourself to do that. Our mind is very obedient, even if it's just 4 hours. And be grateful for that. And then at the end of the day, rather than looking at what didn't get done that's going to dribble over into tomorrow, which is where we mostly end up each day.
Yes.
To look at what I accomplished today, what I celebrate today. You know, today, every day is such a blessing.
You see the abundance of water, rain falling from the sky. There's an abundance of water. There's an abundance of aliveness. There's an abundance of joy in the dog that's going past you there. And so to recognize, to see the abundance that surrounds you, even if you're very poor in the eyes of the world, the abundance is always there around you, but you need to recognize it, acknowledge it. And another word for that is gratitude.
I know. I was going to say, that's why I've kept a gratitude journal for years.
3.5 minutes of pure gratitude about 3 things. And I pick one of those 3 to be simple, because I don't want to be the astronaut that, you know, he went to the moon, that was his idea of adventure, and then they all come back and were depressed, because what do I do for the rest of my life?
Yes.
So the wind in my face, you know, my children's faces, anything. And the reason for gratitude is the 2 emotions that mess us up the most are fear and anger.
Yeah.
And you can't be grateful and fearful simultaneously. They don't go together. And you can't be angry and grateful simultaneously.
Gratefulness is the experience of the great fullness of life. And when you're in the great fullness of life, the bowl of life is so full, it's almost overflowing, but not quite. Not yet dribbling over the edges. And you're one with God, one with the universe, and there is no other. When you stand in and live in the great fullness of life. And that great fullness is so powerful that it overflows into a fountain, the bowl of life. And that puts you in this other branch of gratitude he calls Thanksgiving. And when you're in the branch of gratitude called Thanksgiving, the bowl of life is overflowing. And you're so grateful that there's an other, because all you want to do is give and share and serve and contribute. And that's so fulfilling. It puts you back in the great fullness of life. So you can live in that cycle. You can actually live in that cycle no matter what your financial circumstances.
You also say acknowledging the good that is already in your life is the foundation for all abundance.
Yes. And again, many people make that mistake because they believe that there is nothing good in my life. And that's absurd. It means they are not present. They are trapped in certain stories in their head which tell them continuously that there is nothing good in my life. And if they only opened their eyes and looked around, now abundance, you need to recognize that as coming from within you. Abundance is not something that external things come to you that make you abundant. Abundant is the energy that flows out of you, out of the being of who you are, into this world.
Isn't gratitude in itself an energy field that draws more to you? Isn't it its own vibrational frequency that draws more to you?
Yes.
And that's what I interpreted you saying. Is that gratitude is its own energy field.
Yes.
And that when you acknowledge and are grateful for whatever you have, when you can see and feel the gratitude, experience the gratitude in whatever you have, that changes your vibrational frequency, literally.
Yes.
And allows more to be drawn to you.
Yes, it changes your entire reality. It changes the way in which you experience life. It changes your world. Here in this moment, what is it in this moment that I can be grateful
for?
Man, that was powerful. So, we cannot express enough how important gratitude is. The next question is, does gratitude have anything to do with the money I make? Gratitude in itself is unrelated to money, however, it's entwined with money. Studies have shown that people who are grateful or happy make between 7 to 11% more than people who are not grateful and not happy. So if you want to have an instant pay raise, try gratitude, try happiness. However, what it will do is it will keep you focused on all the good that is happening, and then more good will come to you. So you will experience an increase in health. You will experience an increase in income. Because people will enjoy working with you, and people are successful because they work very well with other people. It has nothing to do with the job, the tasks, the requirements, because people can be trained to do specific jobs and specific tasks. But that being happy and uplifted and having people feel good in your presence because you're focused on the good, that is powerful, and people will love to work for you. They'll seek you out because of your attitude. They'll seek you out because your focus on gratitude will make sure that everyone is focused on gratitude. That vibrational level that you have will force others to come up a little higher and to be more grateful. So yes, it will affect your income. Science says, as I said, between 7 and 11%, you'll make between 7 to 11% more than people who are not happy or not grateful. Is there a particular tool or trade I can practice? Gratitude, there are a lot of tools online. There's a lot of gratitude tools in bookstores and all over. Pick one that works for you. And if there's not one that works for you, then take what works and make your own. I use a journal, a gratitude tool that I created. And it's a little bit from about 6 or 7 different tools. So I start off with my powerful thought for the day. And that thought could be something I found or heard somewhere, or one that just came to me. And I start out with 5 things that I want to accomplish for that day. And that keeps me focused on what I want to do. And that's how I handle that tool. And if there's something in a tool you're using that just doesn't resonate with you, don't worry about that. What's important is that you stay in gratitude, that you think about 3 to 5 things that you're grateful for, and why you're grateful for them, how you're going to express that gratitude, and what's going to be your next step. The next question is, how can I get my wife to express gratitude for me? Start being grateful yourself. Start being happy yourself. Start keeping your agreements. So a lot of times we'll say, oh yeah, I'll do this, and then we don't keep the agreement. Well, that's something we need to forgive, and then we need to start being grateful for what others have allowed us to experience with them. So for instance, we're not here on an island. So generally, if you're doing well at work, it's because you have the help of others. No one's doing well by themselves. So start being grateful for that. If you are in a situation, in this case, this question, start being grateful for what your wife does. Start finding the good and not the bad. And once you start finding the good, then what will happen to that level is it's contagious. People will start finding good also. And be sure that you're not radiating anything negative yourself, because people pick that up too. So if you don't feel good about who you are, what you're doing, or your place in life, all the people around you pick that up, and they will mirror back to you what you feel about yourself. So you have to ask your question, is your wife a mirror how you think about yourself? Because that's the question that has to be answered right here. Because if you're in gratitude, you don't notice that other stuff because you're in gratitude. Does gratitude play a role in my health? Oh yes, gratitude plays a big role in your health. Gratitude and forgiveness and any of the tools that we have discussed on this show have been scientifically proven to improve your health. It lowers blood pressure. It increases your happiness. It even helps in the cancer studies, making the cancer treatments more effective. Because when you are thinking about the good things as opposed to the bad things, you're actually giving the command to your body to release the stress that you carry from all of the negativity. So let's say you've had a terrible thing happen, and people do have some things, terrible things happen. A bad accident or disease, and you had to change your life tremendously. So what you look at is if you survive that, that's really a good thing. And then think about all of the wonderful things that experience has taught you. You've learned a lot that you would not have been able to learn had you not had the experience. So remember, those things come to give you information, not to sour your attitude, not to have you be unhappy and stuck in limitation and lack and in the they did me wrong story. They came to give you information so that you can continue on that journey, continue that goal, and maybe answer some questions that you needed answers to, or answer some questions that you weren't even aware that you would have in the future. So it does play a tremendous part in improving your health. I'm a living example. I get 3 hours straight sleep now instead of waking up every 45 minutes, and I'm really grateful for that. So, and I'm sure that that plays a role in the blood pressure. And as the scientists have said, it even plays a role in psychological disorders. So it plays a big, big role. I cannot stress that enough. How do I sustain a positive attitude in a negative environment? Well, environment is neutral. You are the common denominator. So, your environment reflects what you reflect. So if you bring a negative self to your environment, then you are going to get a negative environment. I think the one thing that we forget sometimes is that nobody is one-dimensional. So if you work with people who seem to be negative all the time, they're not one-dimensional. They're not negative all the time. That's just the part of them that you see. So start looking for something good in them. Everybody has something good in them. Even in a good novel, the bad guy has something you like about it. So start finding something good about the situation, about the people, and why you're there. And just maybe consider the universe sent you there because it needs your light to shine in that environment so that that environment can heal. So it sounds to me like you've got an assignment from the universe that you need to focus on. So get busy showing positive energy, bringing positive thoughts, bringing what's right instead of what's wrong. And every time something wrong appears, find out what you learned from that, and then that makes that right. So that's how you change that environment. Now, some people ask, again, continually, there's always this question, and I have that question here, is how often do I do it, and do I have to do it every day? Yes, you have to do it every day. I suggest you do it at least once a day. Most people do it in the evening because you're able to recap the day as to what you were grateful for that happened in that day and why you're grateful for it. And then in the evening, you can also take a look at what didn't go so well and what you could have done differently and what you can do now to make sure that it changes for the good and that good things do happen from that. So the next thing I want to talk about is a comprehensive journal. Now, this is going to require you to actually take some notes because it's pretty comprehensive. So we're going to take a break for a few minutes and allow you to get prepared.
I'm Gary Sinise. You may know me as Lieutenant Dan from the movie Forrest Gump or as the bass player in the Lieutenant Dan Band. I've had the honor to meet many of our soldiers and veterans. It's a sad fact that some of our warriors, some of our nation's finest citizens, are wasting their lives through suicide. Suicide is not the answer. It's final. It robs you of your chances for a better life and brings pain and heartbreak to your loved ones. You don't have to go it alone. VA cares about you. VA is reaching out to veterans who are thinking about suicide. So reach back now. Don't wait. Call 1-800-273-TALK and press 1. Our counselors will not share your information with anyone. Thousands of veterans have had the courage to call. How about you? Call 1-800-273-TALK and press 1.
Welcome back to A Sip of Inspiration. I am excited about what does gratitude have to do with it. So Now we're going to talk about a comprehensive journal, and this is a journal that's recommended by the Harvard Health Publications at Harvard Medical School. And it can be found on their website if you don't get a chance to get it all down. But as we've learned earlier, writing things down actually impresses it in your consciousness and increases the chances that you will do it and will be successful with it. So the first thing you're going to do is to write a thank you note. That's number one. Write a thank you note. Harvard Medical School says that you can make yourself happier and to nurture your relationships with another person by writing a thank you note, expressing your enjoyment and appreciation of that person's impact on your life. Now, Dan Sullivan also talked about writing a gratitude letter. So we've got two experts in different fields. One's a strategic coach. This is a medical school telling us the value of writing a thank you note. So write a thank you note. And the key is note, okay? It doesn't have to be 6 paragraphs that a letter would be. It can just be a couple of sentences, but write a thank you note. And when you do that, you're going to send it or you're going to deliver it. And if you deliver it, you're going to read it to the person out loud if possible, because people don't hear enough about how good they are to other people. And I think this is really cool. And I want you to, once in a while, and Harvard Medical School does too, want you to write yourself a thank you note, a gratitude note. And I want you to mail it to yourself and open it up and read it out loud to yourself when it gets there. The second thing is to thank someone mentally. Now, this is in addition to, not to replace, writing the thank you note. So thank someone mentally. Now, there are instances when you may not have enough time to write something, and in that case, thanking someone mentally would be a good choice, because thanking them mentally is as powerful as thanking them in a note. But putting it in writing seems to put everything on steroids. So you can thank them mentally. So you can say, I want to thank so-and-so for, and I want to thank them because this is what happened as a result of that. Maybe they gave you a recommendation, you followed it, you got a promotion or an award, whatever it is, but be sure you're thanking them for that. Step 3 is to keep a gratitude journal. Now, seems like we said that 101 times during this show. Maybe not that many, but we have said it a lot. So the Harvard Medical School wants you to keep a journal. They want you to make it a habit to write down your things you're grateful for, your gratitude list. And they also want you to share with loved ones one of the thoughts or gifts that you receive each day. Share it with a loved one. Tell them, you know, this is the thought I had today that came, because thoughts are going to start coming to you. Ideas and thoughts are going to start rolling in like you've never, ever seen before. Share one of those. And then if someone did something wonderful for you, share that with a loved one. Gives you something else to talk about if you want your wife to, back to the earlier question, if you want your wife to appreciate you more. The fourth thing is to count your blessings. Now, Harvard Medical School says every week, sit down and write about your blessings. They say pick a time and a day so that it becomes a habit and it's consistent. So if it's Monday at 8 o'clock at night or Thursday at 3 a.m. in the morning, whatever it is, adhere to that date and time as much as possible. Make it a habit. They want you to reflect on what went right, what you're grateful for and why. And then you pick the number of things that you want to talk about. They say 3 or 5, but do it every week consistently. It's not the number, but consistently. And as I often say, the universe isn't concerned with quantity. It's concerned with quality. So you pick the number and you'd be consistent with it. And as you write, they want you to be specific about what you think about, the sensations you felt of that good thing that happened. Now that sensation thing is sort of new. So how did it make you feel? You know, were you all giddy and excited in the inside? You know, did your heart flop around? Were you breathing fast because you were so excited? How did you feel? Now, that's a new thing, because we do know, science has proven that everything happens according to how you feel about something. And feeling occurs in the heart, and not necessarily how you think. First you feel, then your heart tells your brain what to think. So how did you feel about it? That's really important. So don't forget that one. Then the next thing they say, that pray. People who are religious can use prayer to cultivate gratitude. So if you have prayer in your practice or some spiritual practice, that is a part of your comprehensive step toward being more grateful. And they say meditate. Mindfulness meditation. They said that involves focusing on the present moment without judgment. Without judgment. Just focusing on that moment. One of the steps I do sometimes when I'm sitting still and meditate is, and people always ask, how do you get rid of the outer noise? You don't get rid of the outer noise, you sort of incorporate it. So what I do is I will find 5 things that I hear and focus on those. 15, 20 seconds. Then I'll focus on 4. Then 3. Then 2. Then 1. And then I find that I'm able to get in that place where I don't hear any distractions. And Harvard says that some people can use a phrase, a focus word, peace or joy, in order to keep you centered in meditation. And they said that it's possible to focus on what you're grateful for at that moment. So maybe it's the warmth of the sun, or a pleasant sound, or the comfort of a chair that maybe you're sitting in, or just the peaceful and stillness in your body, but something that's in that moment. And that word, phrase, or feeling can help anchor you into meditation. Now, the question then becomes, well, how long do I meditate? They don't give any suggestions in their notes onto how long. That's an individual preference. So a lot of people, if you're just starting out, take 3 minutes. And if you're interrupted by something, which is generally the most normal complaint that I get, is just refocus. Thank it. So if something comes rolling through your mind, then you say, thank you for that thought. I'll deal with you later. I am meditating now. And just go back to meditation. Don't let it stop you. Because in meditation, all those thoughts that you've ignored generally come up front and center, because now they have your attention. So just let them know that you'll get back to them. 5 minutes would be good, if you could do 5. I suggest anywhere between 10 and 20 minutes, and I suggest twice a day. But if you don't have 10 or 20 minutes, do what I call the better than nothing exercise. If you got 2 minutes, do 2 minutes. That's better than no minutes. So spend some time meditating. Now I want to share with you the amazing effects of gratitude. So be sure to pay close attention to this video.
The philosopher Cicero described gratitude as the mother of all virtues. This concept of being thankful has been stressed in religion and philosophy for a long time. Back in 1820, Scottish philosopher Thomas Browne defined gratitude as that delightful emotion of love to him who has conferred a kindness on us. But scientifically, gratitude doesn't qualify as a basic emotion like joy, sadness, or anger. There's no universal facial expression for it. As an emotion, gratitude is a little hard to define. Today, the Oxford Dictionary defines gratitude as the quality or condition of being thankful, the appreciation of an inclination to return kindness. And we've only really started to study gratitude scientifically in the past 30 years. In a 2015 study, participants were asked to imagine how they would feel if a complete stranger saved their life. I mean, how would you feel? The participants had to rate how grateful they were to strangers who provided them with gifts of food or clothing, or while they had their brains scanned in an fMRI machine. Researchers found their ratings of gratitude positively correlated with activity in brain areas associated with fairness and value judgments. It makes sense because gratitude is often thought of as a moral emotion. There are even benefits in just noting how grateful you are. Another study asked people to write down 3 things that went well that day and why for 1 week. At the end of the week, people were slightly happier than at the beginning, and over time, their happiness scores kept improving. After 1 month, they were 5% happier, and after 6 months, 9% happier, just from 1 week of writing a journal. A similar study with participants with heart disease found that keeping a gratitude journal increased their heart health and quality of sleep, perhaps because it reduces stress. Counting your blessings quite literally makes people happier and healthier. And some people are even hardwired to be more thankful. In a recent study of 77 couples, those with a particular genetic variation that affects the secretion of oxytocin expressed more gratitude towards their partners. Oxytocin is thought to play a big role in promoting close social bonds, so gratitude is part of the glue that keeps these relationships together. So if you think it's the thought that counts, think again. Science says there's some pretty amazing benefits to our mind, body, and relationships when we say those 2 small words. Thank you.
I want to thank you all for joining me in today's show, where we talked about all things to be grateful for. I want you to be sure you start this practice, and don't be intimidated by the number of steps or all of the information that we shared. If you just start with finding 3 things every day that you have to be grateful for and why you're grateful for them, I promise you within 30 days, you will have noticed changes in your life. Now, the wonderful thing about these changes is that they're kind of silent changes. They're going to slowly creep into your life. And in 30 days, you'll certainly start to notice that something's changed, that you're feeling lighter, brighter, happier. And that's what I want for you. So, as we close this show, thanking you with all of my heart and embracing you and encouraging you on this journey of gratitude, I want you to go forth today. I want you to find a hill worth dying for and climb it. I want you to do it your way. And I don't want you to go gently into that good night. I want you to remember to dream big, live the life that you have imagined, and that life is far too short to drink cheap champagne. This has been A Sip of Inspiration. I'm Stephanie Wilson-Coleman, the Empowerment Doctor, your host. And to my heart from yours, all things good.
Life's too short to drink cheap champagne, so I decided to buy me a better brand